The more you analyze, the more you measure, the more you take a time out and say, okay, what are we doing here? Is it working? Where are we? Where are we on course? The better your business is going to be. That's immutable in my experiences. Hi, this is Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to the Magellan Network Show. My goal inside of this communication, this show, is to share with you my nearly 30 years of coaching some of the most successful financial advisors in North America. We're going to be talking about strategies, syntaxes. We're going to be bringing guests on from time to time, and I'm going to share with you what's working now. So think of this show as sort of like a little one-on-one kind of mini coaching cast, if you like, where we're going to be going in depth from time to time on strategies to help you grow your business, get more effective, become more efficient, find balance in your time management, grow your business, and quite frankly, whatever else is going on in the world today. So before we get to today's episode, I'd love for you to do a couple things for me. Number one, make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're doing the audio, make sure that you give us a review on whether it's Spotify or Apple. We'd really appreciate that. And quite frankly, that does help. It does matter when you rate things and like things and subscribe to things. It helps us get the word out to more of the industry. And lastly, I have a very special gift for you. Go to MagellanNetwork.net, so one word, MagellanNetwork.net, and I have for you a complimentary membership, 100% gratis, where you can tap into about between 50 and 75 hours of masterclasses, forms, tools, templates, and strategies. So please go ahead and make sure you go ahead and get that claimed. Smash the like button and subscribe. And please go ahead and leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you're on. And now, let's get to this week's episode. Happy Friday, Magellan Network. This is your coach, Joe Lucas, and welcome to this week's episode of the Magellan Network Show. First of all, hope you had a great 4th of July holiday, and welcome to the second half of 2024. And what I want to do in this episode really kind of talk about a couple different patterns that I've seen over my career, and kind of how to make sure that we're in one or two places, right? We're going to continue to be excellent and really exceed our goals for 2024, which is, again, hopefully where many of you are. Or, hey, we're behind a curve. We're kind of spiraled out, if you will. And what do we do for the rest of the year, right? When you kind of abandon everything. So let's talk about all those, and maybe something in between too. So in my career, I find this time of year is a very interesting time of year. Obviously, the excitement and the enthusiasm of a new year is long gone, right? It's normally gone by February, March. We're now into the grind of the year. We're also into period number 2 in our world, right? Summer season, if you will. A little bit different pace and cadence. And if you've done your mid-year review, and all of you have access to it in our basic masterclass area, let's say KPI, benchmarking and KPI, or KPI and benchmark is one. It's one of the two ways. Same program. You want to make sure, and I think this is super, super important, is when you're doing your clients, right? So if you have a AAA client, single A, double A, doesn't matter. You're going to do at least one review, if not 2 reviews a year with your clients, right? Well, where's your review? So if you're part of our community, you know that every November, right, we do our vision process, right, our 10-year strategic planning, and then part of that, right, we're going to take you through an annual review process, right, for your business, and that's cool and very powerful, and obviously we're always going to continue that. But that also means that you're only giving yourself one opportunity to course correct a year, and pretty much after the year is gone. So what we like to do, so I'm going to give you 2 iterations here. One iteration is that at the mid-year point, right? So at the end of period number 1, kind of into period number 2, right? You execute that review process. So now you're doing it twice a year, almost in like 5-6 months increments, right? I do have clients that we'll do a benchmark literally almost every quarter, Q1, Q2, Q3, or 4. So I'm leaving that up to you how you want to do that. But here's what I know. The more you analyze, the more you measure, the more you take a time out and say, okay, what are we doing here? Is it working? Where are we? Where are we on course? The better your business is going to be. That's immutable in my experiences, right? And I believe in it so much. Quite frankly, that's why we've made that KPI and review and benchmarking and masterclass totally free for every advisor. Quite frankly, all you have to do is be part of our basic community here. But when you do that, you're going to find one of three things. Okay, the ideal outcome is that we are doing really well. We're ahead in production, we're ahead in assets, we're ahead in new households, right? It's like the big three, if you will. So we're feeling really, really good about things. Second situation is we're feeling okay about some things and not so great in a couple, right? And then the third scenario is that we really don't feel really good about anything, right? It's like, so for whatever reason, hey, we're just sideways, and we're just kind of doing what we do, and I'll talk about that pattern a little bit. So the first one is actually, believe it or not, a dangerous one. So well, how can that be? I'm exceeding all my goals. We're crushing it, right? Because sometimes there's a tendency when you're winning to assume that you'll always win. And if you really think about it objectively, the reason why you're crushing your goals is because you're approaching your business in a certain way. You have a certain psychology, certain belief set, certain habits, right? Certain standards. And what I have found, that's why I call it the danger zone, is when you're crushing it, for a lot of human beings, there's a tendency to say to yourself subconsciously, man, I got this. I'm good. I've got this thing figured out. It's almost like you're trying to diet or lose weight. And you get on a scale and you're losing weight. And then so your brain goes, oh man, we're just going to keep losing weight so I could relax I can eat that pint of Haagen-Dazs. It's okay, right? But because you didn't eat it, that's what got you here, right? And so you've got to really, maintain your standards, even though things are going well. Success in this game is fleeting. And here's a real truth. If you're doing, and I think most of you do this, obviously, if you're more in the advisory AUM game, here's how this really works. You can stop doing everything that made you successful today. And for the next couple of quarters, you're so good. You have momentum, numbers are so good. So in other words, it's not like, oh, I'm going to eat like crap and I jump on a scale and I gain 5 pounds in the next 24 hours. Oh my God, I can't do that. It's like, hey, I'm going to stop doing what made me successful, and you're still going to feel like you're really being successful for a couple quarters because you create that momentum. What happens is it shows up in probably the third quarter or the fourth quarter after you stop. All of a sudden, you wake up one day like you got no momentum, you've got no pipeline, you've got no growth. In fact, clients are dying, RMDs, you're sliding backwards a little bit, and what happened? Hi, Coach Joe Lucas here, and I'm just breaking here for a moment just to do a couple quick reminders. Number one, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast. In addition, please leave a comment or a review. Those things really, really matter. And share this episode with 3 of your colleagues inside the financial services space. And lastly, make sure that you go ahead and claim your free membership inside of Magellan Network. Now back to this week's episode. Well, what happened was that you assume things and you put yourself in jeopardy. And the way this game is played, it doesn't show up on the scorecard immediately. It shows up quarters later. And then it takes a couple of quarters to reestablish momentum. It's a terrible concept, right? So that's why I'm saying it's a dangerous place sometimes. When you're doing really, really well, that the assumption is we just got to keep doing what we need to be doing. And that's true, but you just can't abandon that, right? So no matter how good things are, keep going. Right? Do not take your foot off the gas. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep the momentum going. All that's going to do is make you greater, bigger, better, right, going forward. The second place you're in, the second scenario potentially, is you're doing okay. Some goals are better than others, and this is where that mid-year review really, really helps because you can then isolate, okay, what's not happening. So, for example, maybe your asset game is good, right? Clients are adding money, markets are up. You're getting, optimization. Clients are having liquidity events, they're retiring, things like that. But then man, I'm behind the curve in terms of new relationships, new households. Okay, so let's look at that as a possibility here. So why? So if you go, okay, I'm not generating new households. Why am I not generating new households? Well, we can look at one primary focus, which is what is your referral and introduction strategy? What is the standard around that, right? So in other words, by doing the analysis, you can sit there and say, hey, I'm behind in new households. Well, that kind of correlates because I'm not really executing any kind of referral introduction strategy, right? So therefore, because I'm not executing that, here's the result, right? So if you're going to change that result, you now got to go and say, you know what? I've got to really commit to a standard here of 3 to 5 introduction conversations a day, period, right? Conversely, if you're behind the curve with COIs, well, how much time and energy you put towards your COIs? It's a cause and effect scenario, right? And so don't just sit there and say, well, it's not happening, therefore abandon it. It's like, no, really diagnose it, because chances are this has been a pattern you've had in your career for a very, very long time. And so we need to break those patterns, right? So here's that rule. So if you're kind of good in some places, not good in others. So the places you're good at, see the first scenario, right? We keep doing it. And then where you're weak or underperforming, well, don't just say, well, I'm just going to, it is what it is and keep going. Like, that's the definition of insanity, right? Change something. Try something different, right? Don't just say, well, man, that's just the way it is and so be it. That's capitulation. And inside of Magellan Network, we just don't play capitulation. We just don't. Okay? Super, super important. Third scenario is that for whatever reason, maybe you're new to our game, or you've had some personal stuff happen, or whatever. It's just not been a good first half of the year for whatever reason. Okay, and that happens. And by the way, it's easy to sit there and say, well, the market's been this, or the economy's that, or this, that, therefore, i.e. No. I think they're just seasons and kind of conditions, right? Just like weather. If everything's really good, and I'll equate this more to sailing, but you can equate it to anything you like. If you have very benign conditions with good favorable winds and low seas, you could be a novice sailor and probably do a really good job. You'll be successful. Wind picks up a little bit, things get a little bit more choppy, you better kind of know your stuff. If you're in the middle of a storm, you better be an expert, right? And the goal here is to be able to grow the game in no matter the environment. Good market, bear market, bull market, sideways market, whatever the social, economic, political landscape is, doesn't matter. We play the game, and so on. So if you're in the third area, it just hasn't worked out for you. Here's my instincts and my experiences tell me here's how you tend to operate. You'll get into what I call wait till next year mode. Oh man, I'm just going to enjoy the summer, do a little bit of work in the fall, and man, 2025 will be my year. And chances are you probably said that at least for as long as you can remember. That's been your approach. So why does that happen? And a couple of reasons. Number one is that you're over aggressive in your goals, or you set your goals, or you did your business plan, but then you never kind of operate inside of it day in and day out. And like I've said, and these are not my words. These are words of a very good client of mine early, who unfortunately has passed away several years ago. Very successful Wall Street guy. Careers are made up of great decades. Great decades are about great years. Great years are about great quarters. Great quarters are about great months. Great months are about great weeks. And great weeks are about great days. Break it down to the common denominator, which is have a great day every day. Like, that's the goal. And I think a lot of times advisors get into what I call tomorrow-itis. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start my morning ritual tomorrow. Oh, I'll create a written game plan tomorrow. And you just keep, it's like, I'll start my diet tomorrow. I'll start going to the gym tomorrow. Like you kind of push the action away, which then continues the pattern, which is what sabotages you. So if you're in that place where things have not gone well for you, I will submit to you, depending on when you're watching this, obviously this will get released on January 12th, 2024, Friday, as we always do, that I want you today, depending on what time you're watching this, whatever day of the year it is you're watching or listening to me, that this is day one. And what I want you to think about is you're going to start your 2025 game now. You're going to have a 1 to 2 quarter preseason where you're going to work the kinks out, get the habits built, dial it in. I was talking to one of our members the other day on one of our Zoom coaching casts, And he said, and he would fall probably into category number 3. He said, should I wait till November to work on my vision, my 10-year strategic plan, or do you think it's a good summer project? And to me, I'm like, yeah, dude, let's do it. Let's do a summer project. There's nothing magical about January 1st, right? Especially when you're thinking strategically, over a decade. So what I'm saying to a lot of you is, don't wait till 2025 to figure out your 2025 game plan. There's nothing wrong in my mind of saying, hey, I'm gonna rough out a 10-year vision, because our process is 10-year, 3-year, 1 year. But what's wrong with doing 10-year, 3-year, and 18 months, right? Why not put a game plan together between now and the end of the year that would then pivot you with a lot of momentum into 2025? Why wait? There's no reason for that. Makes no sense. So I just want to share these kind of observations with you guys in this episode, which is, bottom line, if you're doing great, keep going. Don't take your foot off the gas. You'll be sorry. If you're in between, kind of things are good, some things are not good, analyze why the things are not good, fix them. Things are good, keep them going. And then if you're not where you need to be, hey, start fresh. Don't go into wait till next year mode, right? That does not work in this game. Okay? So hopefully you found this value. And again, thank you for watching and listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Please like this video, subscribe to our podcast, share this with your colleagues in the game, and I'll see you guys all again next Friday. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, if any of this resonated with you, I invite you to come to MagellanNetwork.net, and we have a powerful group coaching community of like-minded advisors. Come in for a trial. You and I will have a one-on-one conversation. Let's see if I can help elevate your game both personally and professionally.